Welcome, everyone, to This Is Difficult. You've been waiting all week for the highly anticipated podcast about video games and video game related things, and here you are every Sunday night, you loyal listeners. We appreciate you very much. I am your co host, Lord Yeshua. My name is Josh, and here we are on Paul's channel. This is Ryugami-san. And another letdown over there is Zach himself. And we're here to talk about shit and what we did and how we like them, and usually video game related in all fronts. And so we all played a little bit, right? Paul, take the ball.
Yeah, guys.
Like
welcome back.
There was a
Your
pretty good
intros
one.
are awesome. We love them every
Buggered
time.
up at the end
It's
there.
a new intro every week,
Yeah,
and we appreciate that.
Fun.
Yeah, guys, how you been? How you been this week?
Pretty good.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You guys play video games at all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
Excellent.
Good
What'd you guys
ones.
play?
Maybe I should go last so we can lead into the thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fair.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah,
What'd you
yeah,
play?
yeah.
I'll kick things off. We finally got Parsec to cooperate hook, line, and sinker with Gears Tactics. We played that for 2 hours, and it was awesome, but also really hard. Like, Alex is a seasoned XCOM player, and he struggled with it. I am not very good at those kinds of games at all, and I was just in over my head.
Yeah,
It's like top-down squad-based tactics, right?
those are
Yes,
like
it
pretty
is.
difficult. Yeah, like Advance Wars.
Like, I expected it to be tougher than regular
It's real
Gears.
time
First,
though, isn't it? Or
It is.
Oh, it's like
No, it's
XCOM?
turn-based. It's turn-based. It's XCOM like.
Okay, that
Okay,
makes sense to me then. Yeah.
And
it's like
it's-
Rabbits and Mario Kingdom thing.
Yes, but
which
definitely.
is strangely an XCOM like.
Yeah,
I heard that game's
Yeah.
really good.
I heard it's really good. Yeah.
Gears-
No, the
Gears
Mario
Tactics
Rabbits.
or
Mario,
Rabbids?
both
Rabbids
actually, but
thing.
specifically Mario Rabbids.
It's
It's
yeah,
Mario,
it's excellent.
so how could it be bad? It's excellent. Damn.
It's really good. Yeah, I've played a little bit of it, and what I played I enjoyed. But yeah, I mean that really was my only experience with any kind of game like that. So Alex is very much Sherpaing me through this, and like I expect top down anything that sort of gives me any kind of StarCraft vibe to be difficult.
Mhm.
But I did not expect it to be that difficult. I'm way more engaged in the plot than I expected to be. I did not expect to see every Lancer shot down in the standard Gears third person view. They did a really good job merging the two genres. I strongly doubt it'll take off the way that the original Gears franchise did, but it's a really neat experiment, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, why not?
Other than that, I played Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace. We finished it.
That's fun. What the
We
fuck
finished
is
it on
that?
stream on Monday. I will review it at some point.
I was
I'm
about
not
to
quite ready
say
to do that yet.
emotionally.
Yeah, well, no, it's like I'm just still processing it. Like there were some. Well, I'll talk some about it today when we get into the main topic.
Therapy or no?
Well, if you consider the concept, right? Arkham Asylum,
Yeah,
we're
the name
definitely
is just-
processing
So wait, what is it? It's
Lovecraftian
like
horror.
Joker's.
So.
Is it like Joker's mom or some shit?
No, it's
What is it?
wrong Arkham, Josh. It's HP Lovecraft Arkham. So Arkham Horror, the board game.
Joker's mom.
I had no
love
idea,
it.
honestly.
No, it's interesting. It's very. I mean, Paul equivocated. I think I said this last week. Paul equivocated something God of War maybe to the best movie he'd ever played.
Yeah.
And this is definitely the best book I've ever played. Like it's
okay. That makes sense.
It's a $15 game. You get what you pay for. I will go into more detail on that very soon, though.
Yeah, it's
Very
review style.
Very nice.
How about you, Paul?
Oh,
yeah.
what did I play this week? I played a little bit of Mario Kart actually, because we had some friends over and
sounds
we
so nice.
did a little bit of the Mario Kart drinking game.
What is that? Whenever you fly off the edge?
It's when
No.
so you like if you have a drink, right? You have to finish the drink before the end of the race. But
The
you
whole race.
also
Drink and drive.
can't be touching your controller while you're drinking. So you have to put
just fly off the edge.
Yeah. You have to put the controller down, drink some drink, race a little bit, and then but you have to finish your entire drink
Well.
before the end of the race.
Or you can be like me and just pound the drink before you start. and
That's
drive.
generally my tactic.
How big can this drink
That's
be?
generally my
My
tactic.
friend-
Or what I'll do is while everyone else is doing that, I'll try and get like a lap ahead
right.
and then pound it and then go. There's some different strategies, but
My friend Donald's favorite strategy is to run the whole race, park at the finish line, and shotgun the beer.
yeah. So
Oh my God,
yeah,
that's
that's
funny.
fine
It's
too.
a
Yeah,
giant
yeah.
mess.
That's a good strat too. So what what we ended up finding out after 3 rounds of this was everyone except for me was using like the radio control, like the cheater mode in. So if you've
you're
played
drifting? Or like...
no, okay, have you guys not played like local multiplayer in Mario Kart? There's if you press pause and you look above each character, there's a little like silhouette of a Mario Kart.
Oh,
and
it's like guided mode.
Yes, it's got a little antenna on it that's lit up. And if that's not turned off, you basically can't fall off the map.
Yeah, it guides you to the middle of the car, the track. Yeah.
And it's on by default. It's on by default.
Putting bumpers on your bowling gutter.
And so I was the only person who didn't have that on. We do Rainbow Road, and we're doing the drinking game, and I'm falling off constantly, and no one else is falling off. I'm like, something suspicious is happening.
You guys are literally on autopilot.
And I'm like, everyone, we're pausing the game. We need to take a look. Yeah, everyone's using autopilot. Everyone's like, Paul, you suck. And I'm like, no, I'm actually pretty good at this game. I swear. There's no logical reason why you guys are winning.
That's what I thought. I'll have to check into that.
Look at it. It's on by default.
Oh god, I would be so mad if that was the case. If that's why I was losing so bad when I raced against my nieces.
I don't think you can put it on in anything but local, right?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's only in local multiplayer.
It's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of.
If you are like a little kid, then you can just like not die.
Well,
it's perfect for playing with like little kids.
She's got it on, but. If I'm racing against the 12-year-old who is fairly competent at video games and often my player too, I'm turning it off.
And these were all grown-ass adults, So it wasn't like I was racing against my niece or something. It was grown-ass adults that don't need bumpers for Mario Kart. So that was funny. I also played a little bit of a game. This is like an indie game that I would highly recommend to anybody that enjoys that, like if you like Smash Brothers, and or if you want just a fun party game, there's a game called Black and White Samurai, and Black and White Bushido, I think is what it's called. Black and White Bushido. And it's really cool. You get like a flat map, kind of like a Smash Brothers map. And you're either your character is either a black silhouette or a white silhouette, and the lighting will change on the map periodically. So if you're like a white silhouette, and you're in the light, you cannot be seen, and vice versa. And so you like have to sneak around, and it's a one-hit kill on everything.
Oh, okay. There's a Flash version of this too.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, there probably is.
Or it's not Flash anymore.
Honestly, it's such a simple concept, but it is ridiculously fun. I think it's actually way more fun than Smash Brothers, to be honest. And you have to use a lot of strategy. There's even some items that you can use, like the little like a ninja cloud that you throw down, and it will teleport you to a different part of the map. Or like a shuriken that you can throw, or the little caltrops that you can put on the ground that will slow down your opponents. Also, like, let's say someone's, in the shadow and you can't see them, but they step on the caltrops, it'll show blood where they're standing. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So know where they went.
So that's a good way to find people too. It's just a really fun game. It's really neat.
What is that on?
We were playing it on the Switch, but I think it's on a lot of platforms. I think you can get it for like under $5 on the Switch.
Because that seems like a really cool, fun, like one-off Samurai Saturday team-up thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's enough content for Samurai Saturday. We could do it as like, if we were gonna do like, like something bigger, and multiple games on a Samurai Saturday just for fun to mix it up. We could totally do that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I don't know if it has online multiplayer.
If we can get it on Steam, we'll just take a Parsec.
Right, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Super simple game. Played a little bit of that with a homie. What else did I play? This game right here for Samurai Saturday, Genji, Dawn of the Samurai. This is a really fun game. It's very Onimusha like. But this is actually made by I think this is made by, well, it's Game Republic, but I think it was published by Sony. Like, I think it was their like answer to Onimusha. Um, and it's really fun, and it also like it does the same kind of thing Onimusha does, where it's historical fiction, and it kind of like does a double whammy with that, because not only is it you know a video game take on a true story, but this story also is kind of like immortalized as a legend in Japanese folklore. It's the tale of the Genji and the Heike. Um, and it's one of the oldest pieces of Japanese folklore, but also happened, right? So there's also history behind it. So it's just really cool to play like a video game take on that and see what they do with that. I'm trying to think if I played anything else. The Outriders came out this week, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I did pick it up for the PS5. I'm excited about that. Trying to think if I played anything else. I think that, what did I play this week on my regular stream? What was I playing this week?
You took one day off.
I took one day off. We played Monster Hunter. I played Monster Hunter Rise with Chamali.
How was that actually?
Honestly, it's awesome. If I was
sense of butt.
Well, it's not a butt in the sense that you might be thinking, like, I don't have anything negative to say about the game. I'm just not a huge Monster Hunter fan.
Yeah,
like, I like Monster Hunter. I love playing Monster Hunter with people who love Monster Hunter and are good at Monster Hunter. I do not like playing Monster Hunter solo. It's too much for me. There's too much going on. The systems are too complicated for me to like. I'm sure if I cared about it like the way I care about something like Neo, I would take the time to understand those systems, but I don't for Monster Hunter. So unless I have like an awesome Sherpa who really loves the game, it's just a struggle bus for me, right?
Yeah.
That being said, this game is really awesome. It for a Switch game, it's gorgeous. Not to say that you can't do, good graphics on the Switch, but a lot of third parties struggle with it, and like it looks fantastic and it runs fantastic. When Chamali and I were playing it, we had 0 network issues as well, which is a big thing.
That's
for
huge.
Switch. And
That's
we're both playing on Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Let's see what else. I really like the setting of it. Again, me being a big Japan nerd, it's kind of set in like the Monster Hunter version of feudal Japan, which is very cool. The new like mobility systems that they added into it, like the weird grappling hook and a lot of the verticality that they added, is awesome. It's like a really great addition to Monster Hunter, which Monster Hunter games have always felt really, really clunky to me, and this kind of mitigates some of that. It makes you feel more mobile. That being said, one of the things that I noticed while we were playing it is I think that there's a little bit of like what I'm gonna call the Shadow of the Colossus effect in this game,
where you can see a lot of cool stuff.
Well, yeah, that's not what I was going for, but there's definitely a lot of cool stuff to be seen. But more specifically, the controls in Shadow of the Colossus are intentionally bad, right? And the reason for that, I believe, is so that you feel like you're struggling with this giant monster that you're like hanging on for dear life and being whipped around, and that's why it feels the way it does, right? I believe the same thing is true for Monster Hunter. I think that it has intentionally sluggish combat and difficult combat to make it feel like you're fighting with a giant freaking monster, like you're a human being trying to take down this huge monster. Because, and I know it's not like a limitation, right? Because when you see how the monsters move and the AI of the monsters, like it's it's not like a technical limitation. It's something they did intentionally, right? And I really believe that's why they did it, and I think that's good, but I don't really enjoy that. I would rather have
Yeah.
like if you took the controls that you have in Neo and transposed those into Monster Hunter, that would be fucking awesome, and I would
Yeah.
love that. But it wouldn't feel the same. I wouldn't feel like I was fighting this, like struggling to take down this giant monster and having this epic hunt like you do with the current Monster Hunter. Anyway, the whole point of this is I would highly recommend Monster Hunter Rise if you are a Monster Hunter fan. If you are not a Monster Hunter fan, I wouldn't recommend you ever play any Monster Hunter game.
Yeah, I wouldn't even waste your 300 hours of life on this.
Yeah.
They're long.
So,
anything that long, I'm too young. I'm too old. I mean,
well, they're a grind, man. They're like, they're not a games as a service, but you have to dedicate your life to them like a games as a service, right? You have to put the same amount of time and effort into Monster Hunter as you do a game like Destiny, and if that's not what you love, then it's probably not for you.
Yeah. You said something really prolific on your stream. You said, this game is great. If I had a dedicated group of people who were really into this, I would play it and I would buy it.
Yeah.
And I that's kind of where I fell on it too. I was watching for most of the show. I was like, this is not a me game, but it's really, it looks gorgeous. It seems cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's 100% how I feel about it, but yeah,
play them all.
That's what I played. Josh,
yes.
Where you at, boy? What'd you play?
So I played this new game that really caught my eye, Amori. If anyone's ever heard of it, it came out in 2020. It's an indie game that's kind of like an Earthbound like.
Is that the one you put the trailer in the?
I put the trailer in.
Okay,
Honestly, I thought that trailer is pretty hard hitting. I feel like I don't know. I feel like this game is like a more dramatic, like really emotional version of Earthbound, and it's like really far out how the characters are depicted and how the animation. It's literally all hand drawn. So, or at least in that style, it looks really, really cool, like pencil drawing almost.
Nice.
It's really like intense. Like the themes are like almost eerily happy, and like you can feel the depressive tones coming. And the trailer leads me to believe it's like kind of like out there as far as emotional. Like, and also there's a disclaimer on it. I'm pretty sure that says if you've like experienced like depression, be wary about playing this game. So
it's not for me then.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of like Hellblade, right?
I don't know.
Hellblade have a disclaimer
a
like
disclaimer like that. Yeah, it's
it
really
like
so
really
far,
focuses on like mental illness and stuff.
Yeah, and so far it's like about the characters, like how they are as characters and how they treat each other, and they're really good friends. And it's like starting out, and then it's going to get crazier and crazier. And literally, even the combat system, it's like a rock paper scissors system of happy, angry, sad. And like they each have, and you can make your own characters happy, angry, sad because they each have benefit and like fault to it as well. So you can like debuff your guys and then turn enemies into this so you can like get an advantage on them. Like for instance, angry, you deal more damage and you take more damage. So you can give that to yourself or one of your party members and they'll deal more damage, but then they'll receive more. But then you do it to an opponent and it's like, okay, you can just deal a shit ton of damage to him, but be wary, one of you might get taken out in one hit. So it's really cool. Combat is very interesting. It's like Pokemon, but with 4 partners, like the party members are all in the corners. So it's really neat. Yeah, honestly, I really recommend trying it just because it is, but it's also, the story is like really heavy. So be careful. Yeah, deceivingly heavy, I would say. So
it
probably
looked really...
one that I need to skip, but that's my own anxieties and depression.
It's so unique though. I think it's one of those games that has to be played for me at least, because like I like playing any game that's like, I really have a sense like when a game is like revolutionary in its own way. And like this game really feels like it's trying to reach something that I'm like, this feels like a Celeste or a Hollow Knight or a Cuphead to me. And I'm like, okay, I think this one feels like I should play it. There's something about it. It's like calling out to me. So cool. I got that. It's $20 on Steam. I'll have a review eventually, I think, but it's probably gonna take me a while because it is an Earthbound like. So
yeah,
it's like a linear
RPG. Yeah,
it's a linear story RPG, but I don't know. There might be open world parts. I don't know yet. But I really don't want to be spoiled on this. It's looks really good so far. And then I played our game of the week or review of the week, whatever, Blue Fire. So I literally beat it after the podcast last week.
Awesome.
I was like that close. And so this game is, do we just do it? Or
Yeah, you want to just jump into the
yeah,
review
I
right
think
now?
that's
All
going
right.
to segue
Wait, yeah,
us
what?
into my review for Blue Fire right
All right.
now, actually. So here we go, guys. Game. So I got Blue Fire on Steam. How much is it? Did he write this down?
I put it in the notes.
We wrote it down.
It's on sale right now. It's only $16 on Steam. You can get it on the Switch, Xbox, and PS5 and 4, I think, as well. I don't know about 5, but
Yeah, I mean
It's
PlayStation, you can get like the PS. If you have
yeah,
a PS5, you have a PS4.
you have a PS. Yeah, exactly. So you can get on anything. And so I did that. Let's see. Blue Fire, developed by Roby Studios. They're kind of new. I don't think I've heard of another game made by this company. So they're fairly new. So much so that I'll get into it in a sec. But like I had an issue in the game. We'll get to that. And I had to reach out to one of the developers actually. And it's like so small. In fact, the developers are actually like still like accessible. And so that's kind of neat. And at the end, I saw this person's name in the credits, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's the guy that like." Yeah. So that was really cool. But regardless, it was because of an issue. So we'll get to that.
I think
Josh,
Roby,
indeed, Roby Studios is this. Blue Fire is their first game.
Their first game.
I was
They're
looking
from
up the same
Argentina.
info. We don't have
Well, that's
Chamala
you guys are
here to
amazing.
fact check us, so we're both like racing.
I know. And shout out to Roby. These guys are awesome. Thanks for the demo originally. That was a really fun way to play the game.
They are awesome.
They
Yeah,
are awesome.
they're really
Yeah, the
great to
fact that
us.
they are so personable is amazing to their like customer like satisfaction, their want for that. What did I like about the game? So much. This game is really, really great. I don't say I recommend anyone play this game, everyone play this game, but I say that people that like want a really hardcore, unique, but also nostalgic experience, that they pretty much have to be into 3D platforming, but like not really at the same time. Like if you've ever played in like any of the 3D Mario games, like ever in your life, I think you could really, really appreciate this. The issue is that it is super hard, and that's still in the what I liked about it category. This game is a Souls-like. It's a Souls-like platformer, Souls-like 3D platformer. I would say it handles most like a Hat in Time. If you ever played that, meets like much faster though. Like it's so much faster moving. Like you dash and like you do crazy quick movements and all this all over walls and like insane like death-defying platforming that you would like vomit just like looking at it, like crazy wall jumps in between lasers and shit. It's like absolutely, if you want your platforming pushed to the ultimate level and to like see what games like offer, if you're like Mario's great, but like I got Champions Road and then like not much else. And like I love Mario. It still feels better. Like Champions Road is still like overall my favorite platform thing, but like this game offered something different. It was like a really amazing platforming open world experience that was in a linear story in this kingdom that was like desolate and like post-apocalyptic world, and like humans don't even exist anymore, and there's all these tales about what happened, and everyone's like a shadow person, and like your guy is like part shadow part light, so he's like the chosen one because he has the light like coming out of him in a way. So that's really neat. And then
It's also very like there's an obvious hint of Zelda in here. Like
yes, and so that's what I was
the
gonna say.
look
So
of the character,
yeah.
your hearts.
Yeah, it handles more like so if you're not platforming and running around all crazy, it handles a lot like Wind Waker. It handles like Wind Waker Link specifically, and it has a lot of nods to Wind Waker and other Zelda things, like in various ways, like gaining control of the statue and like certain sound effects even that are really close. And the Z targeting is a thing in combat, which again is way harder than in Zelda. It's not as varied because you don't have items or anything like that. And I feel like your sword, it's like you just have to learn how to manipulate it. Like you have an aerial and a side, and the aerial, like you can keep chopping. And what I got really good at, like you're basically spinning around them, just like chopping them before you even touch the ground. And you can do like really amazing acrobatic shit and then like dash back to your platform. It's like absolutely death defying all the platforming you can do, to the point where at the end of the game, I felt like such a master at this game that I was like, I wanted so much more. And just running around this world is just like really satisfying and fun. The
Do you think you'll
storyline,
get more?
I think, okay, so I talked to Gabriel is the guy I was talking to, and he was saying that the mods, they might open source mod, like allow open source modding for this game, which if anyone's ever played a Hat in Time and done that, basically anyone can upload mods into the game if they're appropriate, of course, like make new levels. Right. Like there's already those like Sunshine-esque, like Dream World, like from Hat in Time, whatever, and Sunshine levels, like where those are just ultimately hard. They push your like everything to the limit, and those can be made by anyone, and the creators could add more and like do all kinds of stuff and like challenges for the community and everything like that. and like new skins and everything. So it would be really, really awesome, I think, if they allow that. And they've already mentioned that it is definitely possible.
Nice.
So that was really cool. I hope that's more. Personally, I'm gonna like kind of dip into the what I didn't like category real quick. And I think the story was incredible the whole way through, and it like really gave you that Zelda vibe. Like the gods need your help. Like one of the gods like was betrayed the rest, and turns out that god was like the main boss in some way, and you had to like purge out the light. It was like really cool. Like you're like, what happened to it? I was like, okay, I don't even know. It's kind of confusing, but like I don't want to spoil too much. But like,
yeah, I was gonna say spoilers.
It was really amazing. The last boss like was Dark Souls as fuck. Like holy shit, dude! Like I had no idea how to beat this, and I think it took me like 7 to 10 full tries just to like, which doesn't sound like that much, but I like really learned a lot. And you get a lot of health, like a lot of Estus flasks by the end of the game. So I had 7 Estus flasks or their fire whatevers. I honestly forget a lot of the terminology in this game already. And so like basically it takes a full second to heal though. So it seems like, oh, the more you have of these, the better, because it's an extra health bar. That's incredible. So it's kind of like Metroid, you have so much health, but you have to stand still for a full second, and the final boss is just like absolutely almost impossible. It's like bullet hell at a certain point, like really becomes incredible. But the story, as good as it was, and the final boss, as amazing as it was to fight and so satisfying to beat, and it really felt like one of those games that when you beat it, you're like, that was so good. I feel like I really became a better gamer, and you're just running around this world like you never thought you could. The final finale was satisfying to a degree because you purge out the light and you save the world. Spoiler alert. Oops. But then all you see is like the light like emanating and like going like kind of like a space explosion type thing, like sucking back into like this castle where like the last of humanity had been residing over the world because they thought the rest of the world was destroyed basically. And it's kind of awesome story in the beginning, but then like, and then it just ends. It's like the world is at peace and then it ends. And there's no like seeing the world filled with light or like all these promises of like the gods like returning to their like full like glory and all that stuff. And I don't know, there's so much laid out throughout the story that I was like, this is so rich and good. There's got to be like a crazy ending.
Yeah,
and it was
some
like,
sort of denouement.
Yeah, it felt very abrupt. Like I understood it, and I was like, okay, like you know, we did it. There's peace and whatever. But like it felt very abrupt, and I was like, I want to like play in that world too potentially. Like it's a save before the boss type scenario, like a lot of games are. And that kind of, I love what like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. Like you can keep going, and it's so fucking good. Several games do that, but it's kind of rare. I think nowadays. So that's one of the few things I didn't like about the game. One of the other few things I didn't like about the game was when I first got the game, I know this is not their fault, but like you should really push back a game if it's not ready for launch. This is not a knock at Roby Studios. You guys did an amazing job recovering from this, but there was definitely a lot of patchwork needed in the beginning. I played 3 times through this area to the point where I didn't know where I was anymore because it was so confusing in the sewers. Not the issue though. That was great. But like, I was getting lost because my game kept crashing at this certain point every time I reached it. And I was like, okay, let me do it again. And I was like, where the fuck am I? Anyway, so that was unfun. It made me not really want to play. And everyone was like, there's a patch coming. I was like, okay. So it took me 3 crashes before I just stopped playing for like 2 weeks. And I was like, that was really annoying. So then this is why the review was late. And then I picked it back up, maybe even 3 weeks later. Maybe even later than that. Took forever. And then
make up your mind, man.
When I was playing again, I got to a certain point where it makes you go back to a part that happened in the demo. And so the last part was fixed. I was able to get past it. But then I got to this part that was in the demo and I was like, okay. I played through it and like everything was already beaten. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I guess it saved my data. That makes sense. But then I get to the end and the boss isn't there and the cutscene's not there and the key to the next area isn't there either. And I'm like, this is game breaking, actually. I literally couldn't access the next quest. This is very weird. And so that's when I contacted the developer, Gabriel, who was very nice. He's a great guy. And again, not knocking the company. The customer service is incredible here, and they must be aware of this issue and trying to fix it. But like, it does suck that it was a little rushed. But it's like they were able to fix the problem. Basically, there's like a cheat code menu that he was like, if you do this like certain
like a debug
like,
menu kind of thing.
Yeah, it was really cool, and like it gave me like the final boss scene. And when I did that, I was able to trigger the like event to get the next key. So that was kind of nice. That was really nice. And then minor like. The game has an intense learning curve, I would say. So I'm not saying this is a knock against the game. You really have to want to play it. But like, it feels a little unfair at certain times when like the dash can only like you can dash like here, but like you can't dash less than like here. Does that make sense? So like it's really expecting a lot of learning on your part, but some jumps are just like I have to dash, but like it always overshoots in like certain ways, or the way the camera has to be turned because the camera goes right behind him. So if you're trying to do like a crazy wall jump on a moving platform, which literally this is a thing, like you're doing insane acrobatics and like the camera won't work and you try and put it behind you and it ends up putting a wall in front of you or something. And like corner work was a little sloppy on the camera. Like being in a corner with a bad guy, you're just like, I'm like so fucking stuck in the corner, especially when combat is very difficult when you're small. Like you really grow into like a legendary fighter, but like, and that's awesome. But also the game is really short. I actually kind of like that about the game. It's definitely worth the price tag of $20, I would say. It's kind of on the almost, yeah, I'd say it is completely, but it definitely is a little on the shorter side. I almost 100%ed it. I think I got like 90%. So like almost, I think I missed just like one quest or two. And it was pretty short, but really amazing. They packed a lot in there, a lot of extras and side quests and stuff like that, but only for it to be like 13, 14 hours long. So I did feel like I could have had a little more meat, but it was still worth it.
Do you think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you think that the length of the game is part of like the speed running design philosophy?
I think that also that might be like when I got better at the game, I was also just like running, really churning out the shortcuts and like all that, and it allows you to like warp kind of towards the end.
Because like even in their Discord, there's like a speed running channel.
Tab, yeah.
So like they definitely
I think they
had speedrunners
yeah.
in mind when they design this game in the first place.
I think that makes sense. And if you just played this at a normal pace and like barely made it through each like platforming obstacle, and like even the open world is like really difficult to maneuver, and bad guys are really strong when you first meet them, like 2-hit kills on a lot of them, like or even one for certain ones, like absolutely madness. And you're just like, okay, I'm just dead. Like that's fun. Then you just
there's the Souls like stuff.
There's a soul, and it leaves all of your money basically, which is like ore. And just like you have to get your soul again before you die again, or else you lose it all. But I actually like that. I really like that. To me, like it's so hard to put my finger on this game, but like it really feels like if you liked Hollow Knight, Wind Waker, Hat in Time, Sunshine, and Dark Souls, like you actually, and if you like any of those, yeah, that's why I'm like really trying to put my finger on it. It like really created a new genre that was really interesting. But like it also, if you're a platforming fan at all, like this is like you're gonna be thirsty for more with this game. Like it's crazy. It's so amazing. Like I couldn't handle a lot of this stuff. And the ones that I could barely get over, like, and trying 100 attempts at certain things, like it was so worth it. Like absolutely some of the most amazing platforming. So that's what I did and didn't like about the game. The gameplay was really, really good and very smooth, except for, again, the shoddy corner work with the camera and some things with the camera. But for the most part, really unique, like amazing, like parkour, wall running style, like platforming with the boost being like really incredible. And you can do lots of cool stuff. Very fun game. I wanted more at the end. I'm not going to lie. The art style is really good. It was like Hollow Knight a lot. Literally, Wind Waker meets Hollow Knight for the art style. Like beautiful.
That's so cool.
Like, I love that. It's like the description for it. It's like feels cell shaded. Like maybe it is, and I just don't remember. It feels like it.
It's like cell shady looking.
It's a little. It's like
I don't know
dark.
that it's like 100% cell shaded, but yeah, it's kind of got that cartoony vibe.
Yeah, and even your character feels like Link with the Hollow Knight skin. Like it's like really cool, and the music was really amazing. It has like it does a lot of like it's like a Japanese instrument. Like it's just like you just like pluck one string at a time. What the fuck is that?
Like a koto? Or like
maybe like that. It was like
shamisen?
a lot of like very like old school like Japanese style, like also like dungeon feeling music almost. It's hard to describe. Like every area felt like except like one or two like happy-go-lucky areas, which were actually just like chill, not happy-go-lucky at all, but you felt safe there. And like
Just
every
more
other area
happy-go-lucky
was, like,
than the other areas.
it was like whimsically intense and like with a Japanese like hand plucked string type instrument vibe, and it's like really dope. I thought I was always like singing the music and shit. Like I love like when the songs not get stuck in my head, but like feel like they're long enough that I can kind of tune in when I remember it. Sound design was good. I think that a lot of the bad guys sounded similar at certain times, and that was kind of weird for me. Like it was like a new area got like a different, stronger version of that last bad guy that looks different, but it wasn't like genuinely new characters. And they kind of added eventually, it kind of scales, but some of them were like, the flying guy that shoots a laser and it explodes at you. It's like that guy. Now it's the ice version of that guy. He freezes you too, but it's like still basically the same. Now it's like the fire version of that guy. And I'm like, okay, like that's fine, but I'd also would have appreciated like genuinely new bad guys all the time. But it's also cool to see reiterations like that.
And I think that's hard to do, like maybe for a small indie studio to like getting all that enemy diversity.
Yeah. I don't want to shit on them at all. This is like really good work. I don't want to like shit on them at all. This game is amazing, and I still am recommending it. 15 hours, 15 hours. I could probably beat it in like 4 hours, I think, if I really wanted to, seeing what I actually needed and remembering where the best swords are. Like, you literally could just like destroy this game very quickly. I'm sure the speedrunning record will be like 1 to 3 hours, I'm going to say. Wow. It's going to be absolutely devourable. And then, was the game difficult? Extraordinarily. It's like the most difficult game I played in some time. And to be said, I have not 100%ed it because there was like one quest and like 2 those shrine things that are just absolutely like the 5-star shrines I couldn't beat any of. Like it grades their difficulty. Like one is like fun platforming, like Mario status. That's like the sunshine ones, and they're hard, but they're not like unbearable. And when you play the game all the way through and you come back to one of those, you're like, that was easy as fuck. 2s are like difficult but like still like a really like doable way, and you're like, I got this. I died, but like I got it. 3s are pretty fucking hard. Like it's crazy. Like you take like 50 attempts for a 3. 4s, it's like absolutely vomit inducing. Like you can barely like see straight, and like that's like 100 tries. And 5s, it's like mind melting how difficult these platforming experiments are. Like it's absolutely frame perfect. Like running on a wall, lasers coming, and as you drop here, you have to go here, boost here to dodge this spike to land on this small platform that crumbles, and then you have to jump around the corner like to a moving platform. It's like absolutely the most vomit-inducing platforming I've ever experienced. But that being said, it's a niche for people that want that, and there is no game that has platforming as hard as this. Like it literally goes, it's metal as fuck. Like if you like platforming at all and like feel like all the games have not been difficult enough, and you just like really want to push your boundaries and see what a creative mind can create, like these guys did it. Like it's absolutely the most difficult 3D platformer ever made, and not in a bad way where it's clunky. You learn the controls and eventually it is all doable, but like it kind of expects a lot with you because the controls aren't like, it's not that they're not perfect, it's that they aren't like what you would want necessarily. And the game gives them to you either way, and they're like, deal with it. This is what you get. Like the boost is this long, jumps are like this, and this feels like this, and it feels good and fine. But in certain points, you really have to like acclimate and let the controls take over, and like instead of what you would want to happen take over. And that's like a lot of learning. The learning curve is massive. I would absolutely play a sequel and any DLC. Absolutely. I would absolutely support this company in the future. And I think they learned a lot of lessons about the development, and like clearly a drop. Like they could have done like March 1st, I think, and been fine. And I would have been a little bit happier about that because of the patches and stuff. But I also understand why they wanted to get the game out just to compete. And yeah, it's amazing. It's on every console. Get it for $20. Overall rating and impression. I am going to give Blue Fire a 9.0. And I normally give games a really, really, really high score. So I feel like I'm being really generous here. If I'm not holding like the bugs and stuff against them at all, I think I would give it a 9.3. If I like not holding any of that, like the bugs though, it is a real thing. Like it does affect the community. And I feel like some of the bugs were still in the game. Like for example, I went to an area where I realized there was like a fork in the road behind me, and I was like, oh shit. And these like lava platforms come out of the lava and like back down. And when I got past this point, I was like, I got to turn back. I went back and the lava platform wasn't coming up and the music stopped. And then I like just had to parkour my way back, and I got to this area and the character wasn't inside of the building at all. The NPC didn't spawn. I was like, what? And so I killed myself, and just like you reappear on the edge like in Zelda. It's sometimes depending on the floor, like lava hurts you. Like if it's a black hole down there, it doesn't hurt you at all. Like water hurts you a little. But anyway, so that's kind of neat. And I killed myself, and the music started, and all the platforms started happening again. And it kind of it happened one more time. I didn't go all the way back, but I noticed it. I was like, what the fuck? It happened again. So like it's this weird loop where like certain things shouldn't be happening, and like the game isn't perfectly sewn shut, if that makes sense. Like it's really there. It's like, but it's like 95% there, which is like still like 5% is so noticeable. So in my opinion, that was really it, and it does like make a difference when you launch your game like that. If not, I would have given it a 9.3 based on just like not really much, honestly. Like honestly, maybe even higher. It's a really,
That's
really
still a really
game.
good score.
That's
like,
a really good score.
Yeah.
Like the story didn't do itself justice. It feels like they couldn't finish it. Like it almost feels like we deserve an ending or a secret ending or stuff like that, something like that. Like I know what we got was resolution, but it wasn't like real closure. I need to know what happens to our hero. I need to know what happens to like everything. Like the world itself I cared about and was given this elaborate story. And at the end of every Zelda game, I literally get this elaborate story with all these characters, and it ends up mattering at the end. You see these incredible cutscenes happening at a time where everyone's dancing around the farm and all that shit, and like you see exactly what happens to everyone.
Or like the end of Link's Awakening. Like,
oh my god, that ending!
The ending's so powerful.
The ending is so powerful. Exactly, and honestly, Link's Awakening is a perfect
and it's
example.
Simple and short. Like the ending is simple and short, but it perfectly exemplifies like your feelings and like shows you exactly what you need to know, like
what you need to know and feel. And all. I think that Link's Awakening is the perfect example that all indie gamers and game creators should look at for like, we want to do an ending, but we don't want to be too elaborate. Like if you're going to put story and lore in your game at all, you need to do it justice. And if the end of the game falls flat, which I'm not saying Blue Fire did, but I'm just saying it didn't deliver enough, in my opinion. And that being said, I got a lot of info about the story and the world, and I didn't get a cherry on top. So it's like, But if you're going to do that, Link's Awakening is a great example. Like it's so short. It like gives you everything you need to know. Like you don't even have to have really talk to any of the characters to get it. Like it's just so good and concise, but there's a lot of Zelda.
Yeah. You just know what happened at the end, you know, like you just know
that little bit,
like just with that short little cutscene.
Yeah.
You see everything vanish. You see, Link on the driftwood, and you see the windfish flying over, and you know exactly what's going on.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I will say though, that's probably in my top like 2 ending. They're all so good.
that one's particularly
good. Majora's Mask though, that makes me
cry.
So good. So good. It is so good.
I mean, that one's, as both of you know, those are the 2 that I've finished most recently, so the 2 that stick out most in my mind. But good. I've seen a lot of Zelda endings over the years. Those 2 are so strong.
Those 2 are absolutely dumb. Yeah. Me and Colin beat that co-op this week also. I totally forgot to mention. And literally without the Fierce Deity or collecting like even half the masks. And that ending, every to
dude, I want to
on the stump with the drawing on it. I just cry.
I want to try out Majora's Mask with that 4K
oh my god!
Oh my god!
It's beautiful. How can it be? It's a 3DS 4K, so it's like
no.
Here. Let me wrap up Blue Fire.
I'll explain that to you after the show. How that works?
Get it. Definitely get Blue Fire. Absolutely, highly recommend it. Yes, worth a buy if you're a platformer fan or like Dark Souls or any of that shit. Anyway.
Awesome.
Okay, now on to what we were talking about.
All right, let me switch back to our main screen, dude. That was a great review. I think this game, looks pretty rad too. I actually have it on the Switch. I need to play it myself. So here we go.
I would have to recommend. I use an Xbox controller. I don't know if that affects it. I don't think I'd
finish, but
it's if you don't play. So here's the issue. So just to add to this, so when you play the like super hard, there's 18 super duper hard levels, 1 through 5 star rated. You get a heart piece. You don't get heart pieces from bosses or anything like that. So you only get heart pieces if you train yourself, basically, in these, in these crazy puzzle things. So literally, if you speed run the game, you only have 3 hearts for the whole game.
Oh wow!
And literally, you will get one-shotted by the final boss and subsequent bosses. Like you will or whatever previous bosses. I don't remember words. And then like subsequent, is that the right word?
Presequent.
Presequent. That's not a word.
I'm making that up.
You're right to begin with.
Anyway.
Well, subsequent would be after. So preceding. Preceding.
There
you go.
Yo, speaking English.
I already forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, no, you get one-shotted for sure. So like that was an interesting thing about this game where like it really, the only way to train you was like by being in those arenas, and like I don't know how speedrunners are gonna be able to do it. They're gonna have to like perfectly hit bosses and shit like that.
Yeah,
So
they would have to. Yeah.
it's gonna be
Well,
absolutely
just like
godly.
people do like no hit runs of like the Dark Souls games and stuff. You
Mhm.
know.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It is.
Can you imagine being that good?
nuts.
Can you imagine being
Yeah.
that good?
Oh, people do
No.
it. People do it with Breath of the Wild too. They beat it in like under 20 minutes and like don't get touched by anything. It's freaking
Yeah.
banana.
Dude, no hit
Banana.
Cuphead. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go.
That sounds
Sure.
nuts. Let's go. I'm sure it's a thing.
We do have a topic this week.
We did it
The
ourselves.
topic is, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is another one of those like
Someone
our
explain it,
producer
Elliot.
is gone and we don't have a lot of clarification on the topic. We're gonna be winging it.
At 6 o'clock tonight, when I
Yeah.
would normally be going live for Tales from the Archive,
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, what's our topic tonight?" And our producer was like, "Here's this thing." And I'm like, "I
Yeah.
don't understand. I don't know what you mean by that."
So here's the topic: video game jank and how it can be both a benefit or take away from the game. So
Video game
jank, yeah. What in chat we got? What is jank? A new word for me. Okay, I would assume that he means like it's kind of like lack of polish would be.
Yeah,
would be
it's
jankiness.
lackluster. It's
Lack of polish, bugs, things like that. Like the best one that I can give you as an example of how it could be a good thing, is in Destiny 1, there was what was called the loot cave.
Oh, yeah.
It's
The
like
loot
that in
cave
Borderlands,
was
yeah.
literally just a cave in the Cosmodrome, just in like a open area of the map, where you could just shoot into the cave because it would just constantly spawn enemies and it would just drop massive amounts of loot. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
eventually they patched it, but that was one of those things that like, in the beginning of Destiny 1, the loot system was broken, and that was the best way to get loot. Was shooting into the cave.
That's ridiculous.
So it kind of was like a little bit of a band-aid to the broken loot system. Now they've fixed the loot system, they patched the cave, so on and so forth. But I think
Well, they
that's
released
kind
the
of
second
like
Destiny.
an example of what can be considered jank in a video game that could be good or bad,
Oh,
right?
I got one. So
Yeah, so I mean, let's start with the bad, right? Because
the bad is it feels bad.
Yeah,
most
it
of
feels
the
bad.
time,
There's a lot
jank
of
is bad, and we don't
Yeah.
want that. For
Mhm.
example, and I will talk more in detail about this when I review the game. Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace is a third-person walk-around game.
Mhm.
There are two huge bits of jank in it that bother me to no end. First of all, there's a button to hold to press up the walk or to speed up the walk speed.
Mhm.
It speeds you up basically not at all. It basically does nothing. So I'm just like, all right, if you're going to do that, just make the walk speed faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like getting the bike in Pokemon, but the bike doesn't go faster than you're
doesn't
walking.
actually go faster. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I'm just
so
like, oh
funny.
my god, this is so slow. Now, on the
He's just
other
moving
hand,
his arms faster, but he's not actually going faster.
right. So on the other hand, it did allow me to interact with chat a lot more efficiently. So for a streamer, like that's
Mhm.
the dream, right? A slow-paced game that you can actually interact with people in chat with. But
Yeah.
like it takes you out of the immersion. It's just like if you're investigating something that creepy,
Mhm.
you want to be moving as fast as possible.
Sure.
So that bugged me. And the other thing, the camera, you can't move it, you can't pan it up or down.
Mm.
Oh,
So you're locked in this really weird, like
horizontal.
it feels like your neck is incredibly stiff moving around.
Yeah.
And it's like I like when I'm playing Gears, I'm constantly panning that camera up and down
Sure.
with the second joystick. Like it was so stiff, and it, again, takes you out of the game. It breaks the immersion because you feel like you're constantly fighting with it. Now, I did notice that you can move the camera in 3 dimensions. You can do like this sort of action, which makes for bad radio if we ever convert this to audio form. I'm literally like taking a camera and raising it up and back, and it's like that's fine, but now I'm further away from my character and missing detail on the ground.
Right.
So it's, you know, in a game that's all about looking for detail and literally you want to click on everything that's clickable, you don't want to be messing with the camera. That should not be something you're concerned about.
Right.
So
yeah, that's bad jank.
That's bad jank.
That is bad jank.
Bad jank. I got
Bad
good jank.
dong.
Let's hear it.
Good
jank.
You got good jank. All right.
All the old games. So
All
I don't
of them.
know.
Literally every
All
old
of
game.
them. Okay, so for example, me and Colin are playing Majora's Mask, right? And we're just floating around, breaking the game left and right, like bomb jumping through shit. You literally can be a Zora and climb. You can't do this with any other character, but like you can like try and get through a sunblock, you know, if you don't have the sun song or whatever, or like the Song of Time to remove those giant blocks in Majora's Mask. Literally, for some reason, the Zora can like grab onto the top of that and climb over it, and it just like makes absolutely no sense. But like you could just do that, and so you can like get the mirror shield super early and like all this other weird shit. Like there's so much, and you can literally like bomb jump perfectly and just like smash through the game because the jank is just like the game isn't sewn tight at all. Like
I got some other good Zelda jank.
Whatever you want. Ooh, give me the Zelda jank.
Well, now I'm starting to think of good Counter-Strike jank too.
Good Zelda jank. Link's Awakening on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
The select skip.
Select skip. Yeah.
Yeah, the select skip was. I mean, that's how I beat the game the first time. The first time I beat the game was not because I did it the right way. It's because I figured out that we could select skip. Which, if you don't know what that is, what you do is
it lets you jump around so easily when you're not supposed to be able to.
Yeah. So what it does is like you like the way that Link's Awakening is broken up is in like a grid, right? Just of a grid of a whole bunch of squares.
The original.
Yes, the original. And anytime you get to the edge of a screen, right, it moves across and brings you into that next part of the grid, that next square, right? So the trick is, at the second you hit the edge of the screen, you press the select button on your Game Boy. And then when you unselect, instead of moving you just into the next scene, it throws you to the far edge.
This is going to get chromed out, isn't it?
Yeah. It throws you to the far edge of that square and allows you to move into, like, basically skip that whole, like, section of the grid. Now, what's beneficial about doing that is, like, this allows you to pass through certain areas of the game that you normally wouldn't be able to, like get past places that, you know, you might need an item or a key to get to by basically just jumping over that screen.
It's insanely cheating. You probably got so lost though because you're like, I skipped a whole
super
section
lost, dude. I accidentally skipped into because when you go into caves, so you've got your overworld, and your overworld is basically one map, and then when you're inside a cave, that has all of the dungeons in that map essentially. So you could be in any random cave and accidentally warp into one of the dungeons, and I did that into the 8th dungeon, like which is the final dungeon in a Turtle Rock. You know, so the final dungeon I select skipped into, and it was terrifying. You know, but.
It's terrifying.
That's simultaneously good and bad jank. Like, yeah, I suppose that would enable a speedrunner, but for a novice,
that's how speedrunners do it.
For a novice, just accidentally breaking the game, you're like,
right.
I like 3 hearts.
The cool thing about it though was I was able to you know, figure out, you know, what was going on and find the items I needed and actually complete the game. It's crazy though, having like the fire rod, you know, when you're in like the 2nd level. You know?
Yeah, it's like destroying it.
It's wild.
There's so many things in Zelda games, honestly.
Yeah, but
I mean, I feel like Zelda is a kind of an egregious offender.
Do you know the bottle trick? This is great. In Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, if you're gonna catch something in every bottle, you catch something, and literally as your bottle is like right here on the thing, like a fairy, let's say, or a bug, pause. So your hand is like right here, and you pause and literally switch your bottle to any other item, and then unpause. You'll catch it, and it'll put a bottle wherever that item you switched to was. So like Deku's, bombs, anything that's replaceable, you'll just get that item back when you get it again. Like if you put it on the Deku nut, if you get a Deku nut, it'll replace your bottle again. But if you do it on like the Master Sword or like on your Ocarina, you're fucked. Like you
Yeah, that'd be real bad.
You literally never get that again. So that's good and bad, Jank. Like
That
I always
is
do
good
on
and bad,
thinking
Jank.
that because when you're
But
an
is
adult,
that
you don't need to
so?
do that.
Here's the question though: is that jank or is that just here's our favorite glitches?
That's a good
I would say glitches qualify as jank, right?
I,
Like,
think
I would agree with
the
you.
game is just so broken, but like
Yeah.
I would say it's a glitch, which is bad, but it's like hilarious that you can abuse it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess it's just a glitch. You know?
Because because like I'm identifying, in Arkham Horror, that camera problem is like they just didn't bother to fix that.
Dang.
It's clearly a bug that they just dressed up as a feature and pushed out the door. I mean, you've both heard the adage that a feature is just a bug in a tuxedo.
Oh yeah,
I've heard similar stuff. Being in the
Yeah.
IT field, we
yeah,
see stuff
I
like
was gonna
that
say
all the
Paul
time.
definitely heard that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Mass Effect, also driving around in that stupid vehicle, you could do all kinds of crazy things and get into places you're not supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it just throws you off.
Ooh, I got one.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Go
got
ahead.
one. Skyrim, like slowly walking up mountains.
Yes. Yeah. Just kind of herp derping yourself up the mountain.
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of that? We all did it.
Yeah, and
But
you're not
there is
supposed to be able to do
Zero
that.
point
But
to
yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's definitely some jank. Goat Simulator, I think, is a good example of an entire game that is good jank.
What is Goat
Okay, go
Simulator?
on.
Have you guys ever seen Goat Simulator?
I know it exists. I've never
So
played it.
Goat Simulator is a bizarre game where you just are a goat and you can do weird shit. And it's like
Why?
got like
It's like Untitled Goose Game.
crazy physics that are really broken, and all sorts of just weird shit happens in this game. And it's fun. Like, it's funny. Like, it's not, you kind of got to see it to understand what I'm talking about. But
It's called Goat Simulator.
Okay.
Goat Simulator. Look up Goat Simulator. And I don't know if it was made like this on purpose or if it was a happy accident, but yeah, it is. I highly recommend looking up Goat Simulator.
I have to now. It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Just a
right.
really interesting game. It sounds bad, says Blink in the chat.
Go to bed. That's
It is
really
bad,
awful.
but it's good bad. You know, like it's like B movie bad, right? It's like Manos Hands of Fate bad. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I guess so. The reason I struggled with this topic so much when our producer was talking about it, or pitching it to us, I tend to approach games with pretty bright yellow glasses, but rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
I don't notice the jank. It just
It depends on the game for me.
It depends on the game. Yeah.
If the game is inherently janky, I'll just say it's bad. If it's not, if the jank is polished up enough to be considered a feature, then I won't even notice it. I just like Chamali posted all these games that I love: Mother's Embrace, Outriders, Mass Effect, Sentinels of Freedom, that he considers janky, and I'm just like, at best I consider that quirky.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
I've definitely I've definitely thrown out the word janky before, but not really in that sense. Like I just use that to mean, oh, this is just acting funny. Like,
right, sure.
A simple reboot might fix this, or I'll wait for a patch for a week. Josh, you mentioned that during the Blue Fire review. Is like, you can just wait for a patch, and a lot of that'll be fixed.
Yeah, you can now. Destiny. You couldn't back in the day. You know, like there's a game that I love that I never finished because there was a game-breaking glitch in the version that I was playing. And I don't know if this was on every copy that went out, but certainly it was on my copy. And that was Grandia 2 on the Dreamcast. You get to a certain point in the game. I forget where it was because honestly, it's been so long since I played it. But I got to a certain point of the game and like it locks in a cutscene and you can't get past it. And
well, that used to happen. Like it happened to me all the time on PlayStation 2 when the disc was scratched.
And that was the thing. Like I cleaned the disc. I tried, like I borrowed a friend's disc. Like it just, I think it was, no, I didn't borrow a friend's disc. I made that up. But I did clean my disc.
Liar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did clean, and I had even one of those
probably your
nice
disc.
disc cleaners that like you buff it and
Yeah.
do the
You
thingy.
tried playing
you know?
another copy of the game?
I actually have the game on PC now, right?
Okay.
Oh wow.
And so at some point I will play through it just to get there, like finish the game. But I love that game. It's got like one of the best battle systems in a RPG I've ever played. It's like a pseudo real-time turn-based like RPG battle system. It's really cool. It's hard to explain. You kind of got to just experience it.
That's fun.
But it's a lot of fun, and to be honest, the game doesn't hold up very well. I did dip into it when I first got it on PC, and the voice acting is god awful.
Oh.
But I think that as an old school RPG, it can still be appreciated, and one day I will actually go back and finish it. If not just to see what happens after that, like that cutscene, But it was broken. Like it was broken on my Dreamcast, and I never got to finish that game because of it. And that bummed me out.
It occurs to me suddenly that we live in a age where, like I said, jank can be patched very quickly. And maybe it's just that games had to be tested more rigorously back in the day, because you couldn't have that game-breaking glitch.
Yeah.
You couldn't have that herp derp your way up a mountain. And if you did, was like you had to hunt for that kind of thing.
You really did. And the thing is there are plenty of games where that does exist, that did
Absolutely.
get released in that area. Look at Superman 64.
Even Super Mario 64.
Well, that's the one I was thinking of, Josh, is Super Mario 64. The backslide is crazy.
Oh my god,
that enabled so many speedrunners.
Backwards.
So annoying. But people had to really hunt, or Pokemon is a great example of that.
The missing no, yeah. That was my favorite as a kid. That was awesome.
Oh, dude. So me and my friends, before Pokemon breeding became a thing, devised a way to breed Pokemon using the missing no glitch and make them. So what we would do is we would do the missing no glitch to get over 100, level 100 Pokemon. And we would use a Game Shark to change what that Pokemon was into to breed in different attributes to that Pokemon. So you could get Chansey had the most HP out of anything in the game, right? So we'd do that, but some of Chansey's other stats would be lower. So then we would switch the Pokemon into something else to get those other. Yeah, but this was before people knew what EV training was, and we were using it. We were using a Game Shark to do it.
But even without a Game Shark, though, this copy of Pokemon Blue has been completed to 151, all level 100, just through executing what's called the MIT glitch, which only came out like a decade ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And this game came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
The MIT glitch allows you to. It says if you fly away from a trainer, the next wild Pokemon you encounter will have
It's a specific. It's at the Nugget Bridge that you have to do it, and
it doesn't. No, it doesn't have to be Nugget Bridge. You can go any trainer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because any trainer that has to come to
it has to do with hexadecimal code, right?
Yes,
and you're basically you're inputting a hex code, by how you approach a certain area in the game, and then how you exit that area. So the most famous way of doing it is to get Mew at the Nugget Bridge, and you move a specific way, and you do the encounter in a specific way, and then you fly away to a certain area, and then it'll trigger an encounter with Mew, right? And that was the only non cheating device way to get Mew in the game, unless you had it traded to you in the distribution events back in the day.
Right, because Muse code was in the game the whole time.
Yeah.
But you had to get it specifically from someone at a distribution event. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And you had to like it was this really like shady back alley deal sort of thing to get it that way. And so someone at MIT maybe a decade ago, I mean, what, that 2011, so yeah, that lines up, discovered that if you manipulate these hexadecimal codes, you can literally get every Pokemon in the game, doesn't matter what it is. And then from there, you just execute the missing no rare candy glitch and you can get them to level 100.
Wow.
And it's wonderful. It took hours and hours and hours of gameplay, both for me to accomplish that and for someone before me to figure that all out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the sort of jank that appeals to me personally, because hexadecimal codes, especially like from the excuse me, I got the hiccups. From the limited web programming that I've done, hexadecimal codes will always hold a very near and dear place to my heart, and all the Photoshop work and stuff that I do. So knowing that that's applicable elsewhere was really appealing to me, but most people aren't going to go through that rigmarole.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to really want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah. How do we wrap up this topic? Is there any like any other game that like specifically like, I don't know, how do we wrap this up, boys?
I don't know, man.
We wrap it up. All right. This has been fun. What a janky way to end
wrapping
this.
It up. What a janky way. Our cameras are broken.
Shamali, come back.
We need a producer. This is a perfect example of why.
Probably watching us right now.
I do think actually Pokemon was a great way to cap that off.
Yeah.
Though.
That was really the first glitch a lot of us experienced, I feel like.
Generationally for sure. Like we're all close to the same age, and we, like that was a big game when we were all at that age, right? And I think
everybody knew about that exploit.
Yeah.
Every single person knew
one of the
missing
biggest ones.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and the fact that we thought that hold A, B, and rapid tap up and down, and maybe your Pokeball.
There were so many other
exploits
that didn't actually do anything or didn't work. You're not going to find Mew by pushing on that truck,
or surfing behind the St. Anne.
That pissed me off that I did that.
Yeah.
We all fell for that, though.
We all did it.
I did think of one more, but it's probably not worth it.
Let's hear it.
Okay. I was gonna say in Banjo-Kazooie, there's a thing where when you ground pound, Banjo basically unfolds his arms when he ground pounds, and it's like you can't move or do anything or respond or be touched or hurt or anything when he's in this pose. And so basically, if you do it and then fall off an edge, then you are invincible and you don't take fall damage. So it's like one of those things that's just like so weird in the game, but like it doesn't actually like cheat or anything. It's just like utilizing this weird thing. So I would call it jank.
Yeah.
That's probably our best example of jank yet.
Sounds janky as hell. Literally, you just ground pound and then just like fall off the way you aim it, and like you're fine. It's awesome.
Perfect.
Pokemon, it's a good one.
Well, there you go. Hey, this is Difficult Podcast. If you're watching it it sure has been. Sorry, I'm knocking things around on my desk. If you're watching this on Twitch, you are currently on my channel. I play video games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then on every Saturday we play a samurai game of some sort. Samurai Saturdays. So that's what we do. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please share it is the most important thing, but also, like and subscribe and do the buttons and click the notifications and all that stuff.
Smash that bell.
Up our Patreon and stuff.
We don't have one yet.
Are we gonna have one ever?
No, we don't have a Patreon.
We get paid to exist.
But yeah, leave comments. We'll reply back to you, but sharing is the big one for us. And let's see, that's about it for me. You can find me on Twitter at Ryugami-sama too if you want to like get in an argument about something. I don't know. But where can we find you guys?
Yes, Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TTV on all my socials, which I totally am on. And yep, It's coming, I swear, guys. I don't know. You know, what am I going to play though? I don't know. We'll figure it out. It has to be a big one, and I feel like it's a good one. Yeah.
And
Anyway.
you can find me on Twitter at DENONCZD, and I'm on Twitch at Another Letdown. I'm live this week, Thursday for sure, and everything else is questionable based on how I react to my second COVID vaccine shot.
Oh,
awesome.
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But you know, as of right now, the plan is to still stream on Saturday night, so we'll see.
Awesome.
that
And
would be
we've got reviews for the Arkham game coming up, as well as the remake of Link's Awakening here the next couple weeks. So
And then I'll
look
probably
forward to
have
that.
Amore done, I would say.
Oh, awesome. Perfect.
Nice.
And I'm
Fantastic.
pretty
I
excited
don't
about
know
this
what my
game, so
next
I'm
game
gonna
is
do
going to be, so I haven't.
I got a
This is
couple
it.
of
Honestly,
those.
Nintendo has nothing for so long. I'm like, what are we doing with our lives? I don't have.
I'm
Nintendo
sure we'll hear
games
some
for
stuff
Hawaii.
soon. We're
You
getting
think?
within the
That's
next
okay.
2 months. We're gonna hear stuff for sure.
From
God, I want
Nintendo?
that
For
hard
sure.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has to be for like if this is all they're doing, I'm gonna be like, what the heck? Like, come on.
No,
guys.
we're gonna hear more for sure within the next 2 months. I guarantee.
Okay, a fast one because
Mark my words.
They do curveballs like real quick. Like Paper
Yeah.
Mario was a huge curveball and it got announced.
Mhm.
I think it got announced in like May. No, it was like it was like late April, May. It got announced and it came out July 17th.
You're right.
Like not even 3 months. So I want
All
one
right.
of those.
Well, everyone have an awesome night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.